Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you so much for joining me for this brand new interview. Of course, I got someone special for you guys today. You see, you may have seen him on AEW Dark multiple times. You may have seen him on YouTube where he promotes a lot of promos, very eerie. And not only that, he has worked with the likes of Matt Hardy. He's worked with the likes of, I don't know, a little bit of a Brandon Cutler here and there, a little tag team matches here and there. And he has done a lot in his professional wrestling career that I had to get a conversation with this gentleman. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one and only Ryzin. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Like I mentioned before, like when I found out about who Ryzin was, I was like, dude, this would be absolutely cool to get a conversation.
Perfect. Well, you found me, and I'm glad you did. And I'm here to preach to the masses.
Absolutely. And speaking about preaching to the masses, I got to point out as kind of a sidebar question, the fact that you use your theme song in AEW Dark with the Titantron being how it is, did you have any creative control over that?
Well, I didn't. I do have a lot of creativity. I think that once I started working with them, they of course do their due diligence in exploring who they are bringing on board. So they actually had researched me and had come up with it all on their own, believe it or not. But it all just fits perfectly. I'm really happy with the current theme song that they have for me, the assembly of the video there and everything in that realm. I do have a ton of ideas always flowing through me, and I actually own a theme song that you don't hear currently on AEW, but you never know that that may end up out there shortly. But I did have a composer in Italy actually write a very cinematic, dark and churchy theme song for me.
Absolutely, and we cannot wait for that to happen. And if you do get signed to AEW, one thing I do want to mention is your YouTube videos are so amazing. The way that you kind of conduct these, whether that's through promos, whether that's just through just kind of the craziness that goes on. The first question that I kind of have to hit you with is that one in particular video, and that was on your October 20th video that you posted. You mentioned being devoted into Dark. So was that a sign of things to come for AEW?
Well, it's very cryptic, I'll give you that. But I do believe that everything that I've said in the most recent promos always have some form of cryptic message. That's about as much as I'll say about that. But absolutely, a lot of hidden gems and a lot of hidden pieces, and just pretty much everything that I release out to the masses, and that also goes for my social media posts as well. So always keeping that buzz, always keep people talking, and always keep people guessing for that matter.
Absolutely, and especially when you see Ryzin, just the name Ryzin, so different, and just when the announcer calls you from Hellgate, Florida, again, that just fits so perfect for what Ryzin is. Can you talk about where Ryzin began for you?
Well, Ryzen has always been a part of me. It's always been my name. It, of course, started as Rob Ryzen. A lot of people could find me as Rob Ryzen through the independents when I first started my career, all the way back in 2003, where I had my first professional independent match. All the way up till today, I have always been Rob Ryzen. And when I first started, I was the Denver Daredevil Rob Ryzen. And so I've always had the devil in me a little bit. But it took up until I had moved to Florida before I really wanted to make some change. And I've told this story before, but I had done some work with Impact Wrestling. And they, after my match, they had said, well, what is a Rob Ryzen? And tell me the backstory of a Rob Ryzen. And at the time, I didn't really have much to go on. So I really just, with my love of horror, with my love of, the occult and stuff of that nature, I was able to assemble this character, and I've just consistently grown it from that point into the Reverend of Sin that you guys see today.
Absolutely. And I feel like, especially within professional wrestling, A lot of people lose their first names, and we obviously see that
I
with
beat them to
Ryzen.
the punch. I was like, I'm not going to let them take my name away. I'm going to do it first.
Absolutely. You see a lot of stuff with Rusev getting, put from just Alexander Rusev to Rusev. Now he's known as Miro in the AEW. And same thing goes for a lot of wrestlers. I mean, how do you feel knowing that a lot of these wrestlers lose literally their full name and just either cut it in half to their first name or to their last name?
For some, it makes perfect sense. For others, it doesn't. I always think, for instance, I heard that Matt Riddle just got dropped to Riddle, I believe.
Mhm.
And that doesn't make as much sense to me because standalone as Matt Riddle, he was the name before he had approached the WWE, of course, with his stuff with UFC and things like that. When you think of Matt Riddle, that name itself, it sounds to me much better than just Riddle.
Right.
However, for people like Rusev and for me, even myself being the Reverend of Sin, Rob Ryzin, just didn't make as much sense in my mind. So even when I had been going by just Ryzin for quite a while, but even when I had started my adventures with AEW, they had asked if I wanted to go by Rob Ryzin, and I said no. Let's cut Rob completely out of it. So Ryzen I am, and Ryzen we are. My congregation, we're all Ryzen.
Absolutely. It's just the way that you present yourself on television, YouTube, or in the independent scene that really is that attention grabber for every single fan that's in attendance or fans watching at home thanks to the pandemic. It feels like that Ryzen's certainly a character or a personality that is truly phenomenal.
Awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate that. So thank you for saying that. And it of course is about being different, and it's about creating a buzz. It's about going out there and marketing yourself, having something that people can latch on to. I've always been obsessed with characters, if that's the way you want to say it. Like my all-time favorite band is Kiss. And so that's all I have to say for you to go, I can see why Kiss is
Yeah.
his favorite band. It doesn't even have to be musically. They are a band that even today at 70 years old, they just announced Kiss 2020 goodbye concert that they're going to do. And they are 70 plus, and they still go out there and they still put on a hell of a show. And that's because of the character, and that's how they've been able to have such a stage presence for 40 plus years.
Absolutely. When you look at someone like Gene Simmons and just see him just absolutely rocking it still at this day and age, like it still blows my mind to this day.
Absolutely. And Gene Simmons out of Kiss is my full blown idol. So he is my guru, my inspiration for a lot of things. And most of that really, I think, shows in my professional wrestling career. Things like branding. I know he has, and he'll tell you all the time. You watch any Gene Simmons interview, and he says, they have everything from Kiss condoms to Kiss caskets. They'll get you coming and they'll get you going.
Absolutely. There's some weird
And
stuff out there, but I mean, hey, it is what it is.
absolutely. And so I've followed that same trends. Now, although I don't have condoms or caskets yet, I do have coloring books. I have slam buddies. I have prayer candles. Of course, T-shirts. I have written a tell-all book of my congregation's anonymous confession. So it's like a dirty chicken soup for the soul. I have literally done a ton to continue to grow the brand of Ryzen, and I get a lot of that motivation from Gene Simmons himself.
Absolutely. And you're doing it proudly too. One thing I do want to mention as well is that just the content that you create on your YouTube channel, which of course you guys could subscribe down below. And it's so amazing what you do with each and every one of those videos because it's unique in their own way. So, with this said, what was the inspiration for the YouTube videos? Like, where did that inspiration come from?
Well, unlike a lot of the other, I wish I could dedicate more time to these videos because a lot of what you see on there, these promos, are literally that. A lot of the promos you see are promos leading up to a live event that I'm going to be a part of. So as part of booking me for independent bookings, and part of the reason why I feel like I have become successful in AEW and hope to continue to progress that, is because of my ability to talk. I haven't been able to showcase a lot of that through AEW as of yet. So through these YouTube videos and through these videos that people see, they really get a chance to see my sermons in action. And so a lot of those videos are just to promote an upcoming event. Unlike Being the Elite and Free the Delete, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and a lot of these others that really have a great YouTube presence, I, of course, would absolutely love that. But the time and dedication that it takes to do what my mind wants me to is quite a project. I think, and I said I tweeted this a couple of days ago, I think very cinematically. Everything that I want to produce and put out there, I want to look like a movie.
Absolutely. When I actually look at your content, I really think about the Ultimate Deletion or the Elite Deletion. Just those cinematic feel types of promos or matches that really just pop into my head.
Or the Woken Deletion, in which I beat Woken Matt Hardy.
Absolutely. And that was such a great experience too. But before we get into that, I do have, of course, you've been in AEW Dark, very, very recently and very consistently. What was that reaction for you like when you got the email, you got the call saying, Ryzin, we want you to be on AEW Dark?
Well, I mean, it's something that I've been consistently pursuing. So I had talked with them at the beginning of the year. Believe it or not, I was there on New Year's Day as they were filming.
Oh, wow.
And so I had rubbed elbows with them. Who knew at that time that any kind of pandemic was going to come through? In January, everything was all systems go. They were still traveling. They just happened to be in Jacksonville on New Year. So I was able to go there and be able to communicate with them, rub elbows with them, and just really showcase my eagerness to want to be there and to want to do something with that company. It's an amazing company. I have nothing but the best things to say about it. And I would say that whether I was working with them or not, I think that they are the future of professional wrestling, and I think that they really have it right. I think Tony Khan, and I think that the powers to be within AEW just really have a different perspective that's obviously working given this era of social media and this era of third parties and this era of COVID. They're extremely, what's the word that I'm looking for here? They are just very forward thinking in everything they do. But so to go back to what you were saying, I do tend to ramble a lot, is that as soon as I got the opportunity, I was elated and I was just ready to go to work. I was ready. It was great because it was during this, this COVID era, as I said, and showed up and showed out the best I could, and just continued to progress from there. I've been fortunate enough to put on and show such a wicked stage presence that I've been asked to come time and time again. So as I said, don't want to put any rumors out there, but nothing is, of course, signed pen to paper. But I have been a very consistent part of AEW. Everybody can see that, and hope to just continue to progress. As long as they'll have me, I will keep beating down that door.
Absolutely. And of course, you mentioned nothing is official on pen and paper yet. However, the next question I do have for you is that, how has your experience been working for things that you have been able to do while working with AEW on a regular basis? I mean, of course, they have such a great group of talent that's over there. So what has it been like just consistently going over there?
Again, absolutely amazing. They have the assembly of the best talent in the world. Everybody is hungry. Everybody is eager, but it really does have a very family environment. It's not cutthroat. People aren't out to get you. It doesn't have that feel to it. Everybody is all working for the greater good of professional wrestling, and they are all working to progress the company AEW. And so they are looking for the best of the best and those that are going to bring something to the table. And everybody from top to bottom. I love the crew. I love the cameramen. The people who set up everything, and then all the way up from the bottom to the top. I have befriended many of the talent and many of, as I said, crew members. They go above and beyond, and they're a hell of a roster from top to bottom. Couldn't have created a better business, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and I love how you use the word "hell" for someone as Ryzin, of course.
Of course.
But speaking about Ryzin and of course AEW Dark, what has been your favorite match so far? In your appearances of AEW.
Oh, that is a good question. Really, I've had a lot of really good ones. I would have to say that the one that stood out to me as soon as you said that was myself versus Kazarian one-on-one. I think that match was a great showcase of, what I could do against a high caliber athlete or a high caliber star like Kazarian. Mm-hmm. And everything in that match, went off without a hitch. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed my most recent singles outing with Brand Cutler, but I've literally been very fortunate to tangle with a lot of the big names, Penta and Phoenix. That was another fantastic match that I've had. But really, knock on wood, there hasn't been a bad match in AEW. But if you were gonna have me gun to head, make me pick just one match that was my absolute favorite, I would say so far Kazarian versus myself. Plus, for those who are subscribed to my YouTube channel, there is a match of Kazarian versus myself in a ladder match in Winnipeg, Canada, many years ago. So we had that story long before we touched in AEW.
Right, and not only has Ryzin dominated in the singles competition for AEW Dark, but you've also been involved with tag team competition as well. Very, very a lot of tag team competition. You've been tagging with people like Ray Rosas, who's a part of the SoCal scene, Fabu Andre. There's so many people that you've been, associated with. If you could pick, of course, you could be biased if you want to. Who has been your favorite tag team partner thus far?
Well, it's been a big struggle for me. One of those other videos that you guys could see on YouTube and on Twitter, I have it currently pinned to my Twitter account, is me absolutely obsessing over the fact that I continuously get different partners. I have probably had more different partners within AEW than anybody else. And it's always like the Fairly Odd Couple. It's always somebody that is the complete and utter polar opposite of me. And so, of course, as of this day, I have yet to be pinned in tag team action. I always seem to pick the wrong partner to get me to that promised land. But that doesn't stop me from searching out and seeking out the best of the best. So I have teamed with the Ray Rosas and the Fabu Andres. And I would have to say that Angel Fashion, or Angel Perez is what his name was during our particular tag match. But I think that him and I seemed to have the best chemistry of all of my tag teams. But yet again, was not successful. So absolutely, the search continues.
Absolutely. We will hopefully see you with a tag team partner. But one tag team partner I could recommend. I think I know which one you're talking about. And if we do want to discuss about this, it's probably not going to be the same thing, but I'm going to try to point it out anyway. I'm talking about the broken, woken, whatever you like to call him, Matt Hardy himself. I think that your work with, Matt Hardy is absolutely amazing. What was it like working with someone like that?
Well, I guess you could say that it was absolutely wonderful, as he would say. But no, working with Matt Hardy has been absolutely exceptional. It's been incredible. It's been everything that I've ever dreamed of and more. It's something, obviously many people from the Young Bucks all the way down the line grew up emulating and loving the Hardys, especially our teenage years. when they were at the pinnacle of their tag team careers. And so to be able to tell, if I could go back and tell the young me, oh, just wait what the future has in store for you, you wouldn't be able to even write such a script. But I have been very fortunate to be able to do all of these videos and things with Matt Hardy. I've wrestled him in a ladder match on the independent scene, which was probably, the best match that I've ever had in professional wrestling, because not only was it such a dream come true, but it was a sold out crowd in my hometown, my original hometown of Westminster, Colorado, in front of my peers who, would call me the Hardly boy in high school and things of that nature, saying that I was too skinny, that I would never amount to anything, that I would never reach the successes that the grandeur that I told everybody that I was going to reach. So that was kind of my big, thumb in the eye, so to speak, to them, to be able to showcase that match in front of literally everybody from my high school. Pretty much showed up there years later. Obviously it was years later, but they couldn't believe it. They were mind blown. But from there all the way progressing of getting to know him and then doing the Free the Delete stuff, absolutely incredible. And to his credit, it has helped accelerate the Reverend of Sin to the masses. And for that, I am forever grateful. However, I did beat him in the Woken deletion. I am the only one to ever be successful in a deletion match. So I will stick that flag for as long as I'm able to. And then furthermore, the last episode of Free the Delete, before he, of course, reached Arcadia, which was AEW, he took something from me. For those of you who followed Free the Delete, he had stolen an essence from me. And so that right there might tell you why I am slipping and sliding in the ranks of AEW currently, because I'm missing a little part of me.
Well, hopefully we will get that as sooner rather than later. But aside from that, I mean, of course, you were the only one to beat him in a woken, broken, whatever you like to call, type of deletion match. And I think Sammy Guevara should really get some tips from you.
Hey, I offered my assistance. The one thing about Sammy Guevara is that he's a cocky guy. He's a hole of the ass, as Matt would say. And unfortunately, he didn't want to hear any of my advice. I told him to be careful of Skarsgård. I hate that damn boat. I said that boat had a mind of its own. He didn't believe me, and of course, he got damn near concaved by the boat. I told him to watch out for Senior Benjamin. I tried to warn him, but he wouldn't listen. So you reap what you sow.
Absolutely. One thing I did want to mention, speaking about your AEW Dark appearances, there was one reference in particular that Taz pointed out in commentary. He actually made a reference to your ring name and Triple H's old WCW ring name. I think correct me if I'm wrong, it was Terra Ryzin? Something
That's
around.
right.
So how did you feel about when he made that reference?
Well, obviously, when I'm in the match, you don't hear anything that goes on commentary, so you are surprised when you watch it back. But what really caught, what is or was said maybe as a negative, not to me. I never took it as a negative to me, but what he had said, maybe if he was poking a little fun at his, previous employer. But regardless, him saying it was absolutely incredible, because the dirt sheets took that little piece that he had said and ran away with it, which of course led to just more exposure for me. So the old saying, like, all exposure is good exposure, I think in that sense was very good, because it brought a lot of eyeballs and a lot of attention to that particular match. And of course said, Ryzin throughout every article. So
Absolutely.
I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. And I could definitely make that comparison to Triple H, especially the progression that he made from then to now.
Yeah, and it's continued for a couple of weeks, calling me a terror in the ring and stuff of that nature. And again, I take that in stride. If I am a terror in that ring, and I am Ryzin. And if you want to establish that connection, at least that is the connection you're establishing it with. It's not, oh, Ryzin reminds me of Duke the Dumpster Drosy, which there's nothing wrong with a Duke the Dumpster Drosy, but at least he's not calling me a dumpster out there is what I guess I'm getting at. It's better to be compared to somebody of that caliber on the, the other side of things.
Yeah, right. The other company we don't like to name.
Yeah. Thou
So,
shall not which be named.
of course. And speaking about Ryzen, if given the opportunity to continue to work in AEW, is there any other members in that locker room that you are looking forward to working for in the long term?
Now, by that, do you mean that as allies or as opponents?
Both.
Well, I think that the masses, the congregation, they speak very loud and clear. And they obviously, when it comes to like mixing it up, male and female, a lot of people would like to see me pairing with Abaddon because of the, of course, the gross horror-esque aesthetic that we both present, and the opportunity that I would be able to summon her from the dead at my beck and call. So I think that would be fantastic to be her guiding voice and lead her to wherever she needs to go. Because the last I heard is that you don't hear much from her, so she's not very talkative. So I'd be happy to be that mouthpiece for her. When it comes to other things, a lot of people like to associate me with the Chaos Project, which I think that Luther and Serpentico are absolutely fantastic. So I would love to be involved with them in any capacity. And then as far as, a cohesive unit, of course, as we have been talking about, Matt Hardy, of course, that would be a no-brainer. But of course, if I'm going to do it, he would have to give me my essence back first and foremost. And second off, I would want to be with Damascus. I would want Damascus to come back out and play. He seems to have lost that part of his one of his 7 DTs, and I would happily want to resurrect that to the surface. As far as opponents, any and all, I want to step into the ring with everybody from the top to the bottom. Everybody brings their own unique tool set and weapons and things of that nature. So scratching and clawing from the bottom to the top, I'm happy to do it all and happy to compete against everybody on that roster.
Absolutely. And now I can kind of see it. I can kind of see the Chaos Project, Dr. Luther, Serpentico, and of course I could see Ryzen a part of that. And maybe you could even add in, would be a great addition, a little bit of Abaddon. You know what I mean? Like that 4-unit faction there. I think that would be an absolute dominant faction in AEW.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe that's why they keep us so far apart, is that we would dominate. But you never know what the future holds. But regardless, I'm open for any and all options, opportunity, ideas, anything that I can do to continue to leave a footprint in AEW. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Well, once again, Ryzen, I do want to thank you so much for being a part of this interview, getting this conversation. But before you go, I do have my final 2 questions, one of which being, of course, you've been working with AEW. You've been doing a lot of stuff in the independent scene. You've done a lot of stuff with your YouTube channel, which, again, I will plug for the 4th, 5th time already. Link will be down in the description below. So the thing I do want to ask is that out of everything Ryzen has done, so far, and he's continued to do it, what's the goal?
World domination, of course. No, absolutely. I want to land a full-time contract. I want to be a full-time professional wrestler. I think that is most everybody's goal, but it is always been a goal of mine. It is something that I've been relentless in the pursuit of, and it's something that I will continue to be relentless in obtaining. Given my choices of the current landscape, and there are a few choices out there today, my heart and my soul are completely engulfed with AEW. As I said earlier in this broadcast, there's everybody from top to bottom. I love them all. They are all fantastic, and so that is where my heart lies. But that is the goal, to continue to grow the brand of Ryzin, to continue to elevate myself as a persona within the wrestling industry, and then of course to land a full-time contract with a major wrestling company to progress the career of Ryzin himself. I have many more sights to show you.
Absolutely. When it comes to Ryzen, you could definitely feel it all around the room, all around the arena, and of course, all around at home. But my final question to you, Ryzen, of course, thank you again for the conversation, is you made your debut on AEW during what appears to be a regular basis, a pretty regular basis. How much has this changed for the course of your professional wrestling career despite the pandemic?
Well, I've just obviously dedicated a lot of my time, or all of my time, into AEW. I am still frequently working on the independents. As a matter of fact, last night, although I don't know when this will air, but regardless, last night, as of this particular interview, I had wrestled for Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling and had a great triple threat match with Wes Briscoe and Chico Adams. Wes Briscoe, of course, of Impact fame that a lot of people know, and then, of course, the son of Gerald Briscoe, and then Chico Adams, who is a hell of an athlete and is making his name very well known on the independents out here in Florida. So we tore the house down, at an event last night. I've been to Dallas, Texas pretty frequently. I've just anywhere and everywhere that'll have me. I've been still, of course, as consistent as I can be on the independents. Given the current pandemic, I've had shows canceled. I had a plethora of shows all lined up this year, as many of us have. But thankfully, I've been able to stay consistent with my home away from hell, AEW, and I hope to continue to do that. And again, if that still allows for independent opportunities, I think once this pandemic hopefully starts clearing out and we are able to start seeing crowds again, that I will be anywhere and everywhere that they summon the spectacle of Ryzin.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, once again, thank you guys so much. I will see you guys in the next interview. But before I go, make sure you guys subscribe to Ryzin on his YouTube channel, follow every single social media. The link will be down in the description below. And I promise I will put it in the description below. And not only that, thank you so much. I wish you the best, nothing but the best in your professional wrestling career from here on out. And until we meet again, I will see you guys in the next interview. Boom.